Have a night, iTube. So I know it's been a while since I've been on here making videos. If you've been paying attention for a while, you can probably see that I'm like in and out with sharing and stuff, and I'll make another video going into that a little bit. But for now, I just want to say, as always, I'm full of thanks to everybody who's tuned into this channel and really supporting over however many years I've been on here. So yeah, so in today's video, I kind of just want to talk a little bit about my experience, or what it's been like for me, and what revelations or realizations I've had being a so-called African American or Black American on the continent in Africa. So I want to start by saying, if you've already been watching like my Instagram, Facebook, whatever other social media accounts I have, you pretty much already know what I'm about to say as far as what is a so-called African American. So first of all, being African American or Black American is not what we think it is. It's pretty much just a created identity, or just a created entity. And Black culture and all of these things, African American culture, is not really a culture. Everybody knows, or you would know, that Black people, so-called Black people, so-called African American people, do not have a culture, do not have, or whatever the subculture is that is so-called Black culture, African American culture, is just something that's been birthed out of colonial times, slavery, things that maybe we tried to bring back from Africa when we were taking things that we were doing during slavery, and we just made it something, made it into something when it really was nothing. For example, soul food is like just a conglomerate of things that we were doing during slavery, food that we got from Europeans, like mac and cheese and all of the different stuff. Like, that's not a culture, that's not culture of foods, that's like, it's slave food, literally slave food. So that's what I mean. And furthermore, as far as when Black people, so-called African Americans, want to go to Africa, we always say, people always say, this is how we can reconnect with our roots. We want to reconnect with our roots. We want to get into African languages, African cultural practices, traditions, and all of these things. So to be a Black American means that all of those things have been stripped from you somehow. So you don't have a culture, you don't have your own language, you don't have any of these traditions that you may have had when you were on the continent of Africa, the continent of Africa. So it's kind of like a void that's there, as far as an identity goes. And that's pretty much the point that I want to get into right now, because being on the continent, being in Africa, I've come to realize that being so-called African American, or being born into a situation where you don't have a culture, you don't have an identity that's rooted in some type of culture. You have these different cultural practices and traditions, language, and just different things that maybe we look to and we want to get into when we come to Africa, right? Being born into a situation where we don't have that, I feel like it's been it can be a blessing, and it is a blessing, because when you are coming into the truth and you're coming into really the Most High, you realize, or I realized that when I look at my brothers and sisters on the continent or the continent of Africa, I realized that a lot of our brothers and sisters will have a very hard time breaking out of these cultures and breaking out of these traditions that is filled with a lot of what the world would call witchcraft, what the world would call idolatry. A lot of our brothers and sisters, these cultures, these traditional practices, are kind of stumbling blocks, and it's kind of not kind of, they are stumbling blocks, and they are attachments and they're a conglomerate of like different contracts through blood, through sacrifices. That's why a lot of the traditional spiritual practices, spiritual systems, you do a lot of sacrificial things, you know, and it's all serving like lesser gods and different things like that. And I realized that for me, coming out of the West, to kind of have that void of not having a so-called identity or culture that's rooted in an identity, to not have something that I'm attached to, even if it comes to like I'm speaking English, I don't have like my native, quote unquote, native tongue. All of these things kind of served as, if you look at it in a good way, it serves as a blessing, because I can use it as a stepping stone in the sense that because I don't have that to be attached to, I don't have a hard time coming out of it. I don't have to lose my life. A lot of our brothers and sisters, to get out of these contracts that they've had, their bloodlines made these contracts with these different lesser gods and entities. And it's been covered as like it's their traditions, it's their culture, it's all of it. You know, it's a part of them, it's who they are. They're kind of like owned. So to get out of these contracts, they have to pay in blood. They have to pay. So for me, like I'm trying to say, like it's kind of like a blessing because I don't have that I'm attached to. So because there is a void, there just leaves room for, can be a good and a bad thing. So the bad thing is that I'm kind of coming to the continent, coming to Africa. A lot of us we're just open and susceptible, like we want to pick up something to attach to. We can just be open to things, right? But then on the other side is that, yes, we come in and we are open, but it just leaves room just for the Most High to come in. If you are open to it, if you're open to that, if that's what you are open to, you know? So that's one thing, that's mainly what I've realized, because traveling through Africa, I've met and been around so many of our brothers and sisters all over the Godtinent, and it's really hard and it's really challenging for our brothers and sisters to leave or to get out, to break out of these contracts, out of their cultures, like to get out of it. You know, it's very hard to get away from that and to it feels like you're being stripped from something. And the thing is that I can relate in a way because I've already been stripped from it. Like I've already been stripped from it. We, coming from the West, we've already stripped from our quote-unquote identity and our tribes. We don't know what tribe we are. So just imagine someone going through that right now, but they're having, they have a choice. When it happened to us, when it happened to my bloodline, we didn't really have a choice, like a conscious choice to make. It was kind of forced. But our brothers and sisters on the continent, on the Godtinent in Africa right now, it's even harder for them because they have a choice. They have a choice to separate from it and to pay the consequences, or to go through the hard things that will come from separating from it, or to just stay engulfed within what they know already. So my point is just that that's what I've been realizing. That's what I've realized. And for me, and I want to share this to everyone who's coming out of the West, remember, when you come to the Godtinent, try your best to look at your situation as something that's good, because we've been trained to look at it as it's something bad. Like, you don't have a culture, you don't have an identity, you are up under the white man so much. And yes, all of that is true, and we have picked up horrible behaviors. We don't behave well, we don't think well, we speak English, we're in literally like the colonizer's mind, to be honest. So I'm not saying that we're in like a better situation. I'm just saying, use your situation for what it can be used for. Use your situation as like a stepping stone. Look at the good in your situation, because it can help you, to be honest. That's the point I'm trying to make as well. Like, it's one of the best things that could have happened to us, it was like it was helping us, so that we don't have to how can I say it? So that we don't have to struggle to get out of those strongholds that these different entities and blood contracts that our bloodlines had when we were on the continent, that we were already in. We got forcefully stripped from that. The Most High broke those contracts for us. Because maybe we weren't strong enough to do it for ourselves. Maybe we were the ones that was like the creators of these things, and the people on the continent, our brothers and sisters on the continent already who were still here. Maybe like we were the ones who created it and they're still stuck in it because of what we did. There's many different ways that you can look at it, but it was forcefully stripped from us. And it's a blessing because now it's just we're open. And when we know that we're open and we don't have this identity, we can choose which way we go as well. Just like I said, our sisters and brothers on the continent have an choice. We have that choice as well, just a little bit different. We're already open. So we can choose. We can pick up the other, go into different cultures or things or mind frames that's already on the continent. Or we can say, I don't want to go that route again. Let me go the route that the Most High wanted me to go. And just, He took it from me so that I can just be filled with the truth already. So that's pretty much what my video is today. I hope that this is, not even I hope, it was on my heart to really share this. So that's why I'm sharing it. And yeah, it was on my heart to share it, so I'm sharing it. And I would say that has been one of the hardest things for me to realize, because like I said, we're trained to look at our situation like it was just the worst. Like African-Americans, so-called Black Americans, are like at the bottom of this hierarchical thing. Like we're at the lowest, we're just not desirable, as females, so-called black female, the black woman, to be born into that, to pick up all of these different traits and behaviors and mannerisms, the way we speak, the way that we do things, our temperament, everything, because we've been so up under the so-called the white man, the colonizer. We've been just undesirable, like just godless, which is true, though. Even that is like a spell to keep us in a certain mind frame. That's why I started this video off by saying it's a created entity. Like we're actually not any of that. That's not who we are. Even if we picked up these things, it was for a purpose, so it's like a two-sided thing. The Most High took away what was the hard thing for us to let go of. The Most High did that for us. But then in the meantime, there was also other entities and spirits in the mix that kind of, because we became empty, filled us up with so many other different things to like keep the confusion going. But, as they say, the devil works for God. So even though we became empty and filled with all these different things, it's not like things can't be wiped away and you still don't have a chance for salvation. So that's all I want to say. I think my phone is about to run out of storage soon, because it did earlier. This is like my third time trying to do this video. So I know that whoever sees this video is going to see it and it's going to resonate. And yes, just stay encouraged, because your situation could be a lot worse. So yeah, until next time, I too, God,